She walked into that family as an outsider. A middle-class girl from Berkshire with no royal blood, no title, no centuries of aristocratic training behind her. For years, the palace tested her. The press attacked her. The institution watched, waited, and judged every step she took. And she said nothing. She smiled. She waved. She wore the right colors to the right events. And she waited. And then cancer came for her. And then cancer came for her father-in-law. And in the space of 12 months, the entire balance of power inside Buckingham Palace shifted in a way that nobody fully predicted. Because the woman who survived all of that, the woman who came back from chemotherapy with a quiet, unshakable authority that no royal training manual could have created, is now being described by royal experts as the single most important person in the future of the British monarchy. Not Charles, not William, Catherine. And standing on the other side of that shift is Queen Camilla, a woman who waited 30 years to wear the crown. A woman who fought one of the longest, most painful public battles in royal history to finally be accepted. A woman who, just as she settled into the role she had always been promised, finds herself being quietly, carefully, completely outpaced. Tonight, we are telling the full story of the most significant power shift in the modern royal family: the rise of Catherine, the changing position of Camilla, and what it all means for the crown that King Charles is fighting to protect. This is the story nobody is telling completely. Until now. Welcome to Royal Report Daily, your #1 destination for real royal news, verified investigations, and the stories the palace doesn't want you to find. I'm your host, and if you are new here, subscribe right now and hit that notification bell, because what we cover on this channel, you will not find anywhere else. Every single week, we go deeper, we go further, and we go to places the mainstream media is too afraid to touch. Tonight is one of those nights. Let's get into it. To understand where Camilla stands today, you have to understand what she went through to get here. Because very few people in royal history have had to fight as hard, for as long, against as much public hatred, just to be accepted. Camilla Parker Bowles, now Queen Camilla, was born in 1947. She and Charles met in the early 1970s and by most accounts fell in love quickly and deeply. But the royal family at the time did not consider her a suitable match for the heir to the throne. She did not have the right bloodline. She did not have the pristine public image the palace required. And so the relationship was quietly ended. Both of them married other people. And for years, the connection they had simply existed in the background, present but officially invisible. Then came Diana, the fairy tale wedding of 1981, the global adoration, the children, and beneath all of it, a marriage that was fracturing. Charles has admitted that he resumed his relationship with Camilla while married to Diana. Diana spoke about it publicly in her 1995 Panorama interview, one of the most watched television moments in British history. She described feeling like there were 3 people in the marriage. The country turned on Camilla. She became the most hated woman in Britain. She could not appear in public without facing abuse. There were protests. There were boycotts. There were years when simply leaving her house was a security risk. And she endured it, quietly, without public statements of defense, without press tours or tell-all interviews. She simply waited. Diana died in 1997. The hatred intensified for a period. And still Camilla waited. She and Charles continued their relationship. In 2005, 28 years after they first fell in love, they married. The British public was still divided. Polls showed significant disapproval. And yet, slowly, year by year, appearance by appearance, Camilla rebuilt her public standing. By the time Charles became king in September 2022, she had transformed herself from the most hated woman in Britain into a queen consort with genuine public approval ratings. That is one of the most remarkable rehabilitations in royal history. And it took everything she had. If you want to understand the full picture of this power shift, subscribe to Royal Report Daily right now. Because what we cover next changes how you see everything that has happened in this family over the past 2 years. Now let's talk about Catherine. Because for the first decade of her public life, she was relentlessly underestimated. She met William at the University of St. Andrews in Scotland in 2001. They were friends before they were a couple. They dated on and off. They broke up. They got back together. And when the engagement was finally announced in November 2010, the press treated her with a kind of condescension that is almost embarrassing to look back on now. She was called Waity Katie. a mocking nickname for the years she waited for a proposal. Commentators questioned whether she had any real ambition beyond marrying a prince. She was described as bland, as safe, as unremarkable. A pretty girl with good posture and no particular depth. And Catherine, in the tradition of every clever person who has ever been underestimated, said nothing. She took on her royal duties methodically. She picked causes that genuinely mattered to her. Early childhood development, mental health, the work of the armed forces. She was not flashy about any of it. She built relationships within the institution carefully and quietly. She learned how the palace worked, not the ceremonial surface of it, but the actual mechanics. Who held real influence? Which relationships mattered? How decisions were actually made? For 15 years, she was the student. Patient, observant, absorbing everything. And then 2024 arrived. And everything changed. The year 2024 was the most difficult the British royal family had faced in decades. In January, Catherine underwent abdominal surgery at the London clinic. The palace gave minimal details. Speculation exploded across social media. Then, in February, Buckingham Palace announced that King Charles had been diagnosed with cancer. Two senior royals, the heir's wife and the king himself, fighting serious illness simultaneously. The institution that projects strength and continuity was suddenly visibly fragile. Prince William stepped back from public duties to be with Catherine and their 3 children. Engagements were cancelled. Schedules were rearranged. The royal family was running on reduced capacity at exactly the moment when the public needed reassurance most. And through all of this, through months of silence and speculation and intense public pressure, Catherine made a decision that would define her public legacy forever. In March 2024, she sat down in front of a camera in a garden and told the world she had been diagnosed with cancer and was undergoing chemotherapy. She did not ask for pity. She did not perform grief. She was calm, warm, direct, and completely human. In her own words, she said she was taking each day as it came. The response was overwhelming. Not just sympathy, something deeper. Respect. The kind of respect that cannot be manufactured by a PR team. The kind that only comes from watching someone face something genuinely terrible with genuine grace. And in that moment, Catherine stopped being the future queen people liked. She became the future queen people believed in. Like this video right now if this investigation is hitting differently to anything else you have watched on this story. And subscribe to Royal Report Daily, because the next stage is where the real power shift begins. While Catherine was fighting cancer in 2024, Camilla was fulfilling the duties of the senior royal woman in the household. And for the most part, she did it well. But in 2025, something happened that royal watchers have not stopped talking about. During the state visit of President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump to Britain, a moment was captured that set palace corridors buzzing. Reports, first published by OK Magazine and picked up widely, described Camilla appearing to gesture Catherine away during a conversation with Melania Trump. The exact nature of the moment has been disputed. Some royal observers said it was a clear signal of hierarchy, Camilla, as the senior woman, asserting her position. Others argued it was misread, a procedural moment that meant nothing. But what is not disputed is the reaction it generated. Inside the palace, according to insiders speaking to multiple outlets, it contributed to a growing tension between the two women. And outside the palace, it became the moment the public began asking a question it had not asked before. In the future of this family, as Charles ages, as William moves closer to the throne, as Catherine's star rises, where does Camilla actually fit? That question, once asked, does not go away. And the honest answer is that the royal family itself is quietly working through it. The woman who waited 30 years to become queen is now navigating a landscape where the next queen, Catherine, is not waiting at all. In January 2025, Catherine made an announcement that stopped the world. She was in remission. The cancer treatment was complete. The chemotherapy was behind her. And she was coming back. The statement she released was, like everything Catherine does, measured and genuine. She spoke about her gratitude to the medical teams at the Royal Marsden Hospital. She spoke about what the past year had taught her. She took on a new role as joint patron of the very hospital that had cared for her, a gesture that transformed her personal experience into public purpose. And then she began returning to duties, slowly at first, then with increasing confidence. In 2024, Catherine had managed 13 public engagements, a fraction of the normal royal workload, entirely understandable given her treatment. In 2025, she completed 68. 68. That is not a cautious return. That is a woman who had been given a second chance and was determined to use every moment of it. In May 2026, she made her first international trip since her diagnosis, traveling to Italy for work connected to her Royal Foundation Center for Early Childhood. Royal experts described it as a huge moment, not just for Catherine personally, but for the monarchy. Because royal commentator Richard Fitzwilliams, speaking to GB News, put it plainly, Catherine is now the key for the royal family. Not a supporting player, not a future presence. The key, right now, today. And that shift in language, from future queen to present anchor, tells you everything about where the power balance currently sits. Do not go anywhere. Subscribe to Royal Report Daily and hit that notification bell, because the next section covers the tension that insiders say has become almost impossible to contain. By early 2026, the tension between Catherine and Camilla had reached a level that royal insiders were no longer describing quietly. Okay. Magazine, citing palace sources, used two words that shocked the royal press corps. Open warfare. Now, that is a dramatic phrase, and it is worth being precise about what it means in a royal context. This is not shouting matches in palace corridors. This is not public confrontation. The British royal family does not operate that way. What open warfare means inside the institution is something subtler and in many ways more serious. Competing teams, competing priorities, competing visions for how the monarchy should present itself. Moments where the interests of the current queen and the future queen pull in different directions, and the institution has to quietly choose which direction to follow. The color dispute, reported widely in early 2026, is actually a perfect metaphor for the deeper dynamic. Both Camilla and Catherine love the color blue. Both wear it frequently and effectively. And within royal protocol, the most senior woman in the household gets first choice of outfit color at joint events. Currently, that is Camilla, but the public's eye and the cameras follow Catherine. So you have a situation where protocol gives Camilla precedence, but public attention gives Catherine power. And that gap between formal hierarchy and actual influence is where the tension lives. Royal expert Hilary Fordwich, speaking to Fox News, described it as procedural rather than personal. But other insiders are less diplomatic. The structural reality is that Camilla holds the title of queen, Catherine holds the future. And in a monarchy that is always thinking about its next chapter, the future is winning. Here is the part of this story that rarely gets discussed with the honesty it deserves. King Charles is caught in the middle of all of this, and his position is genuinely painful. He loves Camilla. That is not in doubt. He fought for decades to be with her. He withstood enormous public pressure to finally marry her. She stood beside him through his mother's death, through the rupture with Harry, through his own cancer diagnosis. She is his partner in the deepest and most real sense. But Charles is also a king. And as a king, his first obligation is to the institution, to the crown, to the long-term health of the monarchy. And the long-term health of the monarchy increasingly runs through William and Catherine. Buckingham Palace confirmed in late 2025 that Charles's cancer treatment had moved into what they called a precautionary phase, with reduced treatment frequency from 2026. That is positive news. But it is also a reminder that Charles is navigating his reign with the knowledge that his own health is not guaranteed. Every decision he makes now, about workload, about succession planning, about how much public responsibility he delegates, is made in the shadow of that reality. And in that shadow, William and Catherine's roles have grown, not as a power grab, not as a coup, but as the natural, necessary, institutionally required preparation for what comes next. For Charles, watching that happen while knowing that Camilla, the woman he loves, is being gradually moved to a more ceremonial position, must carry a weight we can barely imagine. He did not choose this dynamic, but he is living it. Every day, like this video right now if this is the royal analysis you have been looking for. Subscribe to Royal Report Daily, and make sure you are here for the final 2 stages of tonight's investigation. Princess Diana's astrologer Debbie Frank, speaking to Hello Magazine at the end of 2025, made a prediction that turned out to be remarkably accurate. She said Camilla would step back from duties in 2026 to make way for younger royals. She described the dynamics of Camilla's relationship with Charles being rewritten. She said Camilla's role would be clearly defined from April onwards with a firm strategy in place. And she said Camilla would remain a powerful force behind the throne, but that the front-facing duties would increasingly pass to others. Now, royal astrology is not policy, but the prediction aligned closely with what royal experts and palace insiders were simultaneously describing through more conventional means. The direction of travel is clear. Camilla will remain queen. She will attend state dinners. She will appear at major ceremonies. She will wave from cars and stand on balconies and perform the visible duties of her position. But the operational center of gravity, the engagements that generate public attention, the causes that drive the institution's narrative, the international visits that project British soft power, all of that is moving toward William and Catherine. That is not a punishment for Camilla. It is not a reflection of any personal failure. It is simply the monarchy doing what it has always done. Looking forward, planning the next chapter, preparing the next generation. And the next generation, in every meaningful sense, is already here. Let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Because what is happening between Catherine and Camilla is not just a personal dynamic between two women in an unusual family. It is a preview of what the British monarchy is going to look like for the next several decades. When Charles's reign ends, whenever that comes, William becomes king, Catherine becomes queen, and the institution they have been quietly, carefully, deliberately building will step fully into the light. Catherine has already demonstrated what kind of queen she will be. Not flashy, not dramatic, not interested in performance for its own sake. She is interested in substance. Her work on early childhood development is backed by genuine research and has influenced government policy. Her mental health advocacy, built alongside William through the Heads Together campaign, helped shift the national conversation on mental health in Britain in a measurable way. Her response to cancer, public, honest, dignified, purposeful, gave millions of people going through their own health battles someone to look to. And she did all of that while managing 3 children, supporting a husband carrying enormous institutional responsibility, and recovering from a serious illness. That is not a ceremonial queen. That is an active, engaged, substantive future monarch. And the palace knows it. Royal commentators know it. The public knows it. The 68 engagements in 2025, the Italy trip in 2026, the new patronages, the return to major speeches. Every step has been deliberate. Every step has been building toward something. And what it is building toward is a reign, William and Catherine's reign, that the British monarchy believes will be its strongest in a generation. That is the real story behind the Catherine and Camilla dynamic. Not rivalry, not palace drama, but transition. The most important transition the crown has made since Elizabeth II stepped into her own impossible role as a 25-year-old in 1952. Think about what Catherine has been through. She entered this family as an outsider and was told, implicitly and explicitly, that she needed to earn her place. She spent 15 years earning it, quietly, methodically, without complaint. Then cancer came, the most terrifying word in any language. And she faced it the same way she faces everything. With grace, with honesty, and with her eyes open. She did not hide. She did not let the palace manage her story for her. She sat down in front of a camera and told the truth. And in doing that, in being more human than any princess the world had seen in a long time, she became more powerful than any protocol could have made her. And Camilla. Do not forget Camilla. A woman who loved a man for 30 years while the world told her she had no right to. Who survived hatred that would have broken most people. Who finally, at the age of 75, stood in Westminster Abbey and was crowned queen. Whatever the future holds for her, whatever the institutional shifts, whatever the changing dynamics, that moment is real. That crown was real. Nobody can take that away. 2 women, 2 extraordinary journeys. One institution trying to hold them both, honor them both, and move forward into a future that neither of them fully controls. That is the British monarchy in 2026. Imperfect, complicated, human, and still, somehow, standing. This is Royal Report Daily, and we will keep telling this story, honestly, completely, and without flinching, for as long as it matters. That is all for tonight's investigation on Royal Report Daily. If this video made you think, made you feel, or made you see this story differently, hit that like button right now. It takes 1 second, and it means everything to this channel. Subscribe if you have not already, and turn on notifications, because we post new investigations every week and you do not want to miss what is coming next. Share this video with one person who follows the royal story, because the more people who know the real truth, the better. I'm your host. This has been Royal Report Daily. Stay informed, stay royal, and I will see you in the next one. One woman wore the crown. The other is becoming the crown. Subscribe to Royal Report Daily and be here when the next chapter writes itself.